Exploring time, Carl F. Bucherer takes you on a captivating journey through the adventure of time. Travelers find inspiration in new places and environments and embrace explorations as a way of life. Carl F. Bucherer watches are the companion for your life journey. On the journey through time, cultures emerge and traditions are formed from which heritage always arises anew. Petravi, the perfect adventure companion for exploring dramatic landscapes, embarking on thrilling expeditions, and discovering nature's breathtaking beauty. Monero embodies the essence of the modern lifestyle of vibrant cities and invites you to fully immerse yourself in the antipodes of urban life. Carl F. Bucherer, your companion on your journey through time. Heritage, Petravi, Monero.
And here we go, guys. Original OC with you on the Original OC channel. Breaking news out of Switzerland. Breaking news out of Switzerland. The publication Balance is reporting at this hour that Rolex has announced in an internal meeting that iconic, well, I don't know about iconic, but but 137-year-old Swiss watch brand Carl F. Bucherer will be shuttered, will be discontinued. Founded in Lucerne in 1888, Carl F. Bucherer shall be no more. Rolex is pulling the plug on the brand. Let's see who we have in the chat. By the way, if you want to jump on the panel, the link is pinned at the top of the chat. We have breaking news from, I'm not sure if this is a German publication or a Swiss publication, Balance. But the news, we will go through the article, guys. We're going to go through the article from Balance in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes. We will read the article directly from the source. Let's see who we have in the chat. We have Earls, who is first. What's up, Earls? We have Logan Hall's Grill Streams second. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger here. There we go. How does this look? Pretty good. What's up, Logan? We got Andy Lewis in the chat. What's up, Andy? We've got Goldfinger. We've got Whole Milk, who says we need Rolex to pull the plug on Tudor next. Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I don't think Rolex should pull the plug on Tudor. I think Tudor is going to have its own troubles. They're going to have their own issues over the next few years as they've been pushed. Their pricing has been pushed too high. $5,800 for chronographs, too close to Omega for my comfort. Oh, we already have over 20 people watching. Guys, if I don't want to have to remind you, but now's a good time to hit the thumbs up. Here's a good time to like the live stream. Let's get to 10 likes, guys. 10 likes. Breaking news. Let's see. We got Omar in the chat. Omar says, "What the? No more Carl F. Bucherer." But I was going to buy one of their watches sometime eventually. I've actually purchased 2 Carl F. Bucherer watches over the last 5 years that I've been a newbie collector. It's true. I did. I purchased 2 Carl F. Bucherer watches. Scott Wexland says, Bucherer is too hard to pronounce anyway. Well, Bucherer is still the name of the retail outlet that Rolex purchased a couple of years ago. So Bucherer still adorns the name of their stores, but the actual watch brand Carl F. Bucherer, if it's Bucherer, Bucherer, who knows how the fuck it's pronounced. But breaking news at this hour, Carl F. Bucherer will be no more. When will it end? What will the transition be like? We will read the article directly from the news publication Bilanz. And guys, if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, please let me know. Bilanz. It's Friday afternoon, the 7th of February, 2025. Afternoon breaking news with you on the Original OC channel. Rolex axing 137-year-old brand Carl F. Bucherer, according to news source Bilanz. Andy Lewis, I just checked the chrono. Carl F. Bucherer is still dropping. Yeah, their watches, although they're okay watches, and by okay, I mean like on a scale of A to F, like a D plus, maybe a solid D, maybe a D minus. Let's be honest. Let's get real, guys. This is not a brand you should ever buy. I mean, listen. When they were part of Bucherer, and it was a brand that was championed by the retailer Bucherer, and you bought the brand because you maybe liked a couple of their pieces or you wanted to give them as gifts. Like let's say you had a nephew that was graduating college and the person wasn't a watch person. You could give him this watch and they might think it's a good watch. And you spent like $5 or $6 grand on it and your AD really loved you. Your AD said, you know what? Thank you so much for buying a Carl F. Bucherer. Then it made sense. It made sense as part of the AD game. But today, that game involving Carl F. Bucherer is no more. Hey, we got LC in the chat. LC is a member of the Original OC channel. LC is a really cool person. I don't want to describe him as a mega collector. I'll just describe him as a very important collector, in my estimation. And he is a member of the Original OC channel, which is very much appreciated. If you have a star next to your name, then you are a member too. If you are not a member, please click on the link that I just dropped in the chat that says memberships. Please become a member today. I'm laying here recovering from surgery. I'm glad you're on today, OC. I hope you are doing well, LC. I hope very best wishes for a very speedy and complete recovery. I hope it's nothing too serious. If you don't want to share, I get it. But if you want to share, let us know. Yeah, we're here to entertain and to provide you with the breaking news. Whole Milk says first Cecil B. Parnell, and now Carl F. Bucherer. What's next? Roger Dubuis? I think all of these Swiss watch brands are in peril. I think they are all at risk of going defunct. I think they are all on the precipice. Is that a word? Precipice? It sounds good. Precipice. I think they are on the precipice of disaster. And that includes a brand that the people who collect Roger Dubuis, I like them. I like the people who have Roger Dubuis. I like the people who like Roger Dubuis, but I don't love Roger Dubuis. I like AC Morgan though. Like AC Morgan has Roger Dubuis. I like AC Morgan, and I like his collecting of Roger Dubuis. But the watch itself, I don't like. For me, but it looks great on them. It looks great on their wrists. I wish them health and happiness. I want them to wear it in good health, but not me. BW in Florida. Greetings. What's up, BW? We've got Naj. Who's Naj? Always preferred Carl Fardman. Anyway, I don't know who that is. But what's up? What's up, Naj? I think you might be new to the channel. Logan asks, have you decided on a BMW yet? No, I have not. I mean, I've decided. I've narrowed it down to 2 or 3 models, maybe 2 models. But am I ready to pull the trigger? No, I'm not. We got Ryan Hofre in the chat. What is this trash? Well, we're going to read the article, and coming up in 5 minutes, we are going to read the full article from, I think it's a German publication. I think it maybe it's German publication Bilanz. They could be Swiss. I'm not sure. Could someone let me know in the chat whether it's German or Swiss? I'm not very educated on that. Hey, Andy Lewis says, U.S. aid funds to CFB have dried up. Send money now. I did hear a rumor that that Elon Musk and the Department of Operational Efficiency have targeted Carl F. Bucherer for termination. Guys, they've offered buyouts. Offered sweeping buyout program, and Carl F. Bucherer is no more. I think what they did is they reached out to everybody this morning and said, hey, if you agree to voluntary resignation, we will pay you through the end of the week. And everybody at Carl F. Bucherer took the package. It was 100% participation. And as a result, there are no more personnel at Carl F. Bucherer. All the watchmakers are gone. All the administrative staff, general and administrative staff are gone. So Carl F. Bucherer is no more at this hour. But we will be reading from the official news source coming up in a couple of minutes from Bilanz. Omar says, in all seriousness, that World Time model they put out a few months ago is beautiful. Yeah. I mean, they have some models that are okay. Sure. They got some models that are okay. But is it good enough to be a sustaining watch brand? No, it is not. Person in the back, you have keys. Jump on whatever you feel comfortable. Pip says, hey, OC, got offered the Piaget Polo 79 yesterday. I passed. Yeah, it is. That's a very expensive watch. But congratulations for being offered it. It's a beautiful watch, but it is not the kind of watch I would buy right now in today's market. There's a global moratorium on watch purchases. So no one is allowed to buy any watches. Pip, to his credit, was offered a watch and turned it down. He passed because he knows we're in the middle of a boycott, global boycott on all watch purchases through March 31st. What's up, Buckley?
Spreadsheet Fridays.
Spreadsheet Fridays. It's the afternoon. By 3:30 East Coast time, I hope everybody is wrapping up, getting an early start to the weekend, and getting ready for a big Super Bowl weekend. Going to the store, loading up on chips, dips. I brought home 2 pizzas about 15 minutes ago. I'm like, we're also expecting kind of a snowstorm tomorrow, so like a little bit of bad weather. So I figured if we want to stay in and not do anything, we'll have a couple of pies handy that we can eat. What's up in your world other than spreadsheets?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go through the chat real quick. We got Tobister McDonkey here, and then we're gonna read this article from Bilance. We got Vamal in the chat. We got CQ, the watch guy from David SW in the chat. Air King Ben from Australia is in the chat. CQ says, "That's a shame, man. Carl F. Bucherer made some good watches." No, it isn't. It's not a shame. Let's be frank. The competition is tough. This is one of those brands that wasn't going to make it. It's smart for Rolex to pull the plug on it. I can rattle off. If I go through the list of the top 300 Swiss brands, I bet you I could pick off about 150 or 200 easily be shuttered, and no one would blink an eye. Easily. We got Ryan Hofre in the chat. Pedro Bermudez is here. We got Mr. G. Holy shit, Unplugged. That's right, Unplugged. Got Corrado Galicia in the chat. Germany was the only country who cared. That's right. This is a German publication. I'm going to assume that Balance is German, but they report on all the big Maison activity. Hey, Christopher Negroni's in the chat. He wants me to get M3 competition. M3CS is a great model, but I don't want to deal with a 6-speed manual transmission. So I'll probably go with an M340i. But no decisions yet. We got some car talk going on in the chat. That's pretty good. Car talk is good. Got Diego M in the chat. Hey, we have everybody here. We got over 40 people watching. We got over 20 likes. So boom, let's get to the article. Buckley can interrupt at any time because he is a VIP on the panel. Let's go through the article. And we've translated it to English. Here we go. End of a watch brand. According to Balance, Rolex pulls the plug on Carl F. Bucherer. Now, this is translated from German, so if it's not perfect, don't blame me. The watch brand Carl F. Bucherer was a hobby of the late Bucherer patron Jörg Bucherer, an expensive hobby. Rolex is now putting an end to it. Better an end with horror than a horror without end. That may have been the guiding principle behind Rolex boss Jean-Frédéric Dufour's decision to discontinue the Carl F. Bucherer watch brand. This morning, that's right, breaking news, guys. This morning, employees were, I haven't read this article. This morning, employees were informed of the end. The shutters on the remaining boutiques will soon be lowered, and the sales points in Bucherer stores will soon be cleared for other brands. This is a good thing. This is a really good thing because it means that, think about it, Carl F. Bucherer standalone boutiques, Rolex can say, hey, let's give these to Bucherer, the retailer, and Bucherer can create Rolex stores out of them or whatever, or just close them. And all that space that's being wasted by Carl F. Bucherer displays in the Bucherer locations can now go to other things. It's a good thing. It's good for everybody. Neither Rolex nor Bucherer wanted to comment on the end of CFB. That's Carl F. Bucherer. Rolex referred us to Bucherer, while Bucherer dismissed the information from Balance as mere rumors. According to information from Balance Watches, The Karloff Bucherer brand has never managed to make a profit. Wow, despite some impressive sales, overall Bucherer is likely to have lost around 250 million francs with Karloff Bucherer. In good years, Karloff Bucherer generated sales between 80 and 100 million francs. There were even years, it is said, in which the brand was the second strongest brand within the Bucherer business behind Rolex. I can see how maybe even last year was a good year for them, probably one of their best years with all of the retailers and the essays pushing Karloff Bucherer. There were some big bonuses and big commissions tied to Karloff Bucherer, and a lot of salespeople were very successful selling people Karloff Bucherer, including some very expensive pieces like tourbillons and complications that sold for $50,000, $60,000 a piece. And the essays did a pretty good job. But they were the second strongest brand within Bucherer behind Rolex. But even in these years, Karloff Bucherer made losses. There is said to have been not a single year in the black. It is therefore no surprise that Jean-Philippe Dufour is pulling the plug on Karloff Bucherer. Rolex may be owned by a charity, but it is not a charity. It is a company, and an extremely successful company. There's no need for disruptive factors such as Karloff Bucherer, especially since from Rolex's point of view, the brand is only a bycatch of the Bucherer takeover. In other words, it's just a just happens to capture the, when it bought Bucherer, just happened to buy that brand. It's kind of a tag along. They didn't really want to buy Karloff Bucherer. The strongest watch brand in the world does not need a sister brand alongside Tudor, and it certainly doesn't need one that does not work. Patron Bucherer was both a life insurance company and a bank. The only question is why Bucherer has not made the cut that Rolex is now making on its own. The simple reason is Karloff Bucherer was the baby of the boss, Jörg Bucherer. And as long as he was in charge of Bucherer, no one dared to criticize or even question his expensive hobby. Jörg Bucherer was the brand's life insurance and bank, it is said. Only his death after the takeover of Rolex cleared the way for a sober analysis of the brand's uncertain future. The strict look by Rolex's finance department at the brand's loss statements then sealed the end. It is said that Rolex will try to accommodate some of the affected employees, around 100 within the group. The people at Karloff Bucherer production in Lengnau near Biel, is that Lengnau near Biel, will probably be offered jobs in the new Rolex factory in Buell. This will probably involve around 70 people. The failure of Karloff Bucherer is surprising because as part of Bucherer Watch Trading Group, the brand has always had privileged access to Bucherer's extensive distribution network in Europe and the USA. This article is now starting to bore me. According to this paragraph, Karloff Bucherer trades for about 90% discounts on secondary. Yep. Karloff Bucherer was present in around 250 stores, 50 which are operated by Bucherer or its U.S. subsidiary Tourneau. Okay, there you go. That's the news. According to Balance, employees of Karloff Bucherer were notified this morning that the brand is toast. All right. Let's see who has any reaction. Does anybody have any reaction to this? Probably not. Got John Galt in the chat. We got Helgestrant, Cloud Ken. Everybody here. I think this article is pretty self-explanatory. The brand blows. Okay. Got Rufus in the chat. The brand sucked. And that's why Rolex, in its infinite wisdom, is pulling the plug. Buckley, any reaction, or are you just hanging out?
I love how ruthless they're being.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I've I've been on a tangent probably the entire time you've known me that there's just too much bullshit. And I love that they're pulling the rug on everybody all at the same time. Love it.
How smart is it of Rolex to do what every other? I mean, it's much tougher for other brands because those other brands, if they say, you know what, hey, we're not doing very well, our brand isn't really great, there's really no prospects for us to do much better. Their only recourse is to shut the company down and to put themselves out of work. But Rolex doesn't. Rolex has the luxury of saying, you know what, we've got Rolex and we've got Tudor. We don't need this thing, and just shut it down. It's wasted space.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing people want to do is buy a Bucherer when they go into a Rolex, which is what these salespeople have done for years. It's the Breitling effect, right? All those sales figures for Breitling are total horse shit because no one's actually coming in to buy a Breitling. They buy a Breitling because they're trying to get a Rolex. I'm such a pessimist, OC, and every time I say shit, people go, "You're fucking crazy." But tell you what, the pendulum is swinging to my side more and more every day. Every day that goes by. The volatility and the disruption right now. Oh boy. They are going to flatten everybody. They're going to flatten the market completely.
And I really wouldn't even describe your outlook or your perspective as cynicism. I don't really see it as cynicism. I see it as stark reality.
Problem is the watches are too expensive. So all these brands, they got greedy and they were selling watches and they didn't know why they were selling watches. That's true. That's literally the truth. A lot of these brands have no idea why they were selling watches. Holy Trinity brands have no idea. Beyond Holy Trinity, Independence, and these big box retailer brands, a lot of them have no fucking clue why they were selling watches. They think that, oh, we sold a Navitimer at $6,000. We sold all of them, so let's make them $7,000. Yeah, why'd you sell them? Because it's a great watch. No. You sold it because the guy was trying to get a Submariner. And you should have kept it $6,000. Because now when you look at a Daytona, which is 14, you could say, hey, I can get a Breitling for 6. But no, now you made it 10. Right? Wasn't that the argument, OC? I could get a Daytona in 2019 for 12.5, and I could get a Speedmaster for 4.5. Well, the Speedmaster is a better value at 4.5. Fine. Now it's 8. Rolex didn't double their prices, but all these other brands nearly doubled while not knowing what was selling their watches.
Yep.
The flipper moved the market, not watch collectors. Watch collectors need to take a seat and understand that the guy with the Louis Vuitton backpack that smells like weed, who's 21, is what moved this entire market. And they're going to also destroy all your hopes and dreams of these independents and this fucking horse shit like Moritz Grossman or Dave Bethune. Oh my God, Dave Bethune. What a fucking heaping hunk of dog shit at that price point. It's over. Rolex is coming in on every angle now. They're taking out brands. They're increasing their prices. They're taking the gray market away. Look at what's happening on the secondary market. It's all by design.
The dealers aren't even buying any Rolex because there's no need. They can just source them.
I just sold a Rolex today. Dealers are buying Rolex. I just sold one today.
Okay. Good.
You know what they're not buying? They're not buying fucking Reversos. They're not buying. They don't want to touch an offshore. They don't want to touch a code. They don't want to touch a big pilot. It's toxic. Truly, it's toxic. Yeah, and everyone below Rolex tried to fucking match their prices with Rolex, and everybody above Rolex really increased their prices. And we had this cute little time from 2022 to probably 6 months ago, where everybody was taking their Steel Sports and whatever, and they're trading them in, and they're graduating. Oh, I'm on to bigger and better things. Oh yeah, like what? Oh, I'm on the Jorn list. I'm on the RM list. I'm on the offshore list. I'm on the fucking college. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happened is in 2019, 2020, 2021, that there's that saying, the rising tide lifts all boats.
Yes, and it was Rolex.
And
Was
Rolex lifted up the entire ocean. They lifted up the entire ocean and allowed these brands that had no business surviving on their own, not only gave them a lease on life, but gave them 2 or 3 incredible years where they didn't, not only did they not appreciate it, they decided
were ignorant.
to,
They were ignorant.
what was that? They're ignorant. What they decided to do is exacerbate their own demise. And if Rolex could have strategically figured out how to do this and incentivize them to do it, they couldn't have done it any better. They didn't do it, but what Rolex ended up doing was the demand for Rolex was so great, it lifted all of the other brands with it because everyone wanted to get Rolex.
The Submariner, Black Sub OC.
Hold on, wait, just real quick. And those brands did exactly what you said. They raised their prices 6 months at a time. So the Reverso, instead of it being $6,000, was now 10,000. The Speedmaster is actually still kind of a good value, although it's gone up. It's doubled in price. But there are other brands that did ridiculous things with pricing: Panerai, WC, JLC. You could just go on and on and on and on. And now those guys are stuck with high prices, super high prices,
Terrible prices,
low resale, and low desirability. And they did it to themselves.
You can't, after tax, you can't walk out and pay over $8,000 for an Omega Speedmaster. You can't do that. That doesn't work. It just doesn't. The whole thing was, I can buy a Seamaster at $3,500 out the door, $4,000 out the door with a discount from Omega instead of the sub at 10, which I can't get. And you know what? At 50, 60% less, it's a fantastic value. And Omega is fine because Omega they've gone up, but they haven't been nearly as offensive as a lot of other brands, like fucking Langenzone. Are you kidding? You think Langenzone is going to stand? You can't shine Patek's shoes. Patek Philippe has had a name for a long time. It's been very desired. Whether they're above, below retail, it's fucking Patek Philippe. It's Rolls-Royce and Ferrari. That is it. It all ends at Patek Philippe, right? We all know this. That's the way it's been. They've always done the most at auction. Right below them is Rolex, right? Everybody buys Rolexes for different reasons. And then you have like Omega, you have Cartier. It's like 4 brands. Everybody else, they're gonna be fighting for sales. And the problem is the salespeople really don't know how to sell watches. And the brands don't even know why their watches were selling. They think that people actually like them. Like, you really think that many people liked the AMG IWC chronograph? There's that many people that wanted that at $9,000? No. No. The 2 most in-demand watches on the planet, probably 1 and 2, is sub Datejust or Datejust sub. The most people on Earth per day walk in around the world and ask for those 2 watches.
Yeah. You don't like that? You've been a little bit salty on the GMT Master 2 recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's the weakest of the big 3. Right? Because you have, with Rolex, you have the big 3 and then you have the secondary 3. Right? The secondary 3 would be the Explorer line, Yachtmaster line, and then, I mean, you could throw like Air King and Sky Dweller, even though the Sky Dweller is considered classic. I mean, most people I know still consider it like professional, but it depends on which way you look at it. They're the secondary. Okay? So the big three is Sub, GMT, Daytona.
Right.
Sub is in the most demand. It's been the most demanded sports watch of all time. There are more black subs on the planet than any other sports watch ever created, and there will be more people asking for them, especially if we go more conservative. There'll be more people asking for them than ever have been. Okay? It's black, it's steel, it matches everything. Behind that, when you graduate from the Sub, if you want to go down the Rolex rabbit hole, it's the Daytona. It's always been well, it hasn't always been the Daytona, but it's been the Daytona for a while. They've been making black and white steel watches in the Sub or Daytona line. You know, no white subs, but black subs, two-tone subs, and the Daytona line, black and white, for decades upon decades. The GMT Master, they've experimented with. Everyone forgets they discontinued the Pepsi for 12 years. You know why? Because it was a shit seller. It was a terrible fucking watch because it's red and blue. You know what people don't ask for when they walk in? When everything's in the case and you win the lottery, you know what people don't ask for? A red and blue watch because it looks like a fucking Spider-Man watch. So what did they do? They tested ceramic. They tested the super case. They made it black. It was black, black, black. That's it. Then they were like, okay, we're selling more watches. Let's try putting a little blue in there. And then, we'll make the Pepsi. Oh, fucking Pepsi. Pepsi's a classic. Really? Pepsi's a classic? How old are you? Oh, I'm 60. Well, you know, in 2018 when it came out, 2019 when it came out, how old were you? Well, I was 54. How many Rolexes did you have? I had 5. How many do you have now? I have 10. Well, how long have you been able to afford Rolex? 30 years. Well, how come you never bought the Pepsi when it was available? Well, yeah, that's what I fucking thought. So the GMT is the weakest of the three. There's no question about it. No question about it. The GMT is the weakest of the three.
You would acknowledge that Rolex positions it as the second highest in the lineup. You know, the Cosmopolitan watch.
I would not. I think it's by accident because people were collecting Rolex. Rolex positions the date as the highest watch. It is the highest watch. Right behind the date is the Daytona. So if you want top tier prime real estate, Daytona, date. Right behind that is Sub Datejust. Those are the 4 watches. Crossing time zones is not a sport. Right? Chronograph is for racing. Submariner is a water watch. Crossing a time zone is not a sport. I don't know how they made it. It should really be on the classic side. That's where they should position that watch.
Yeah, it's not considered a sport. It was designed for pilots, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
Tool for
that's so
pilots.
niche. That's so niche.
Watch It's Brian, member for 3 months. Thank you for being a member, Brian. Why Buckley is a question to you. I'm not sure if it's a question or a statement. Let's try it as a question. Why Buckley, who knows it all, is the Datejust number 1?
I mean, they make 1.2 million watches a year, and they sell 600,000 to 700,000 Datejust per year because it comes in 4 different sizes, multiple different metals, all different dial colors, flutes, no flutes, oyster, jubilee. You can make it to the way you want, and all it does is tell the day, right? The date and the time. That's all it does. So if you want just a watch to tell time, you want a Rolex, it's the classic Rolex. That's what most people ask for. Now, I know he's being a wise ass because he's a fucking GMT connoisseur, which is fine. If you love the GMT, be the GMT. I'm just saying from Rolex's point of view, it's the weakest of the 3. It is. I mean, if you put a gun to the people's head, OC, and said, would you rather have, if I can only give you one steel sports watch, right? You have 3 choices. Black Sub, Pepsi Oyster, Panda Daytona, or Black Daytona, right? How many times do you think the Pepsi's going to win? Once? I think the sub wins 5 times. I think the Panda wins 3 or 4, and I think the Pepsi wins once. It's just not as strong a watch. It doesn't have glide lock, right? It's still on the super case, so the balance is off. It's just not as strong a watch. I've had multiple GMTs. You know, I know people, I'm killing people's dreams here because there's a lot of people on the wait list, but, you know, don't look at the last 5 years, look at the last 50. Last 50, it was not important. Not nearly as important as the other two. And again, all the money in the world, everything in the case, everything selling at a discount below retail. You know what rich people buy? A fucking day-date. So, I mean, this is not, you can't argue with this. This is facts. Everyone's forgotten. Just like Breitling forgot why they sell watches. So I love it. I love that they're coming in. And you know that, you know the details of some of the things I found out about certain ADs in New York in the last 3 weeks. You know about them, right? Yep. So I know about even more crazy shit, crazy whatever. OC made a bunch of money. He lost Wi-Fi. We have 80 people watching too. $78. OC, it's dropping. What happened? Here he is.
All right. Sorry about that.
You just made a bunch of money, didn't you?
Something. I mean, I actually tried to load the Rolex website, and it so much bandwidth.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you kept talking and entertained the audience with your insight.
No, I shut down immediately. I'm not kidding. I fucking straight to mute, not speaking until OC comes back.
Oh, she is great, and the viewership went up. 80 people watching, guys. It's fucking Friday. Let's fucking go. We got Buckley on the panel. You agree with Buckley? You disagree with Buckley? Voice your opinions in the chat, or better yet, jump on the fucking stream. What are you waiting for? It's Friday afternoon. Let's fucking go. I'm gonna drop the link to the panel.
You know what else I was saying? You know what I found?
Yeah.
I'm gonna call people out. A lot of the people, minus Brian. Brian has his opinion. I'm fine. Like, fine. You love the GMT, fine. But very often, the people who don't understand what I'm saying, that are buying Rolex, they don't actually live in the Rolexes they buy. They're not wearing the watches, or they're not wearing them often enough. Right? If you have 20 Rolex, how are you supposed to get to know each one? It's going to take you years to figure it out. Right? But when you cycle through 2 to 4 and you fucking daily one for 6 months, you figure out exactly what's wrong here and what's gonna hold up. And then once you do that long enough, you figure out why they sell so many of a certain watch. You know, if you have 3 subs, 3 GMTs, and 2 steel Daytonas, and they're all steel, I don't trust your opinion because you don't really know what you're talking about. You know, I have to put a gun to your head and I have to say, pick one. And then once you're fucking crying with a gun to your head, you're gonna pick one. The truth will come out. You know, and I think as these watches get closer to retail, people will sell and they will figure it out. Negroni just sold, not because they're close to retail. It's because he has the 3 and he realized the Pepsi is the weakest of the 3. I sold a Pepsi. Gia sold a Pepsi. I think, OC, you might be the only one left with a Pepsi.
I do have a Pepsi. And I still have the two-tone root beer. Yeah.
Right? Like Jeff has it. He just unboxed it a couple of months ago. He never wears that watch. Boston has it. He's never wearing that watch. You wear a red and blue watch on Jubilee for a week. Fucking that thing's going away for a month.
Old Timey's in the chat. Got Pedro. We do have Negroni in the chat. Negroni, if you want to jump on and explain to us in excruciating detail why the Pepsi was something that you felt you wanted to part with, let us know.
Well, he made a 21-minute video on that, OC.
Come on and spruik the video.
It was a good video.
Muhammad Ali in the chat. Muhammad Ali still has the Pepsi. That's right. Muhammad Ali was on a 3-year quest for the Pepsi.
He can never sell his.
Yeah.
That's the most important Pepsi to ever go to anyone is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, probably. Let's be real. He waited. I mean, imagine waiting 3 years for something. Talk about patience.
Yeah. But I call America a bonehead all the time over this because the guy has 2 GMTs. They're both in steel. He wants a Pepsi. It's not going to make it, OC. There's no way that watch makes it.
He has 2 GMTs?
Yeah, he's got the Bruce Wayne. He's got the Batman.
Oh, that's already redundant.
And they're both on Oyster. You think that a fucking Pepsi on Oyster is going to make it?
On Oyster? Oh, why would he get the Pepsi on Oyster?
I don't know, because he's part of that group of like jabroni, but like he's part of that.
I can't imagine having 3 GMTs on Oyster. That's beyond redundant. That's complete overlap.
Yeah, and then you got that Sprite out there. I mean, that's the fucking dumbest watch of all time. But as these things get closer to retail and people have to make decisions like, wow, I'm not wearing this watch and I'm going to start to lose money on it, you're going to see people sell. It's happening across the board. People are selling. People are selling like crazy across the board. And you see what's holding up. That is true. Right? You see what's holding up. I'm not making this shit up. There's like certain watches in the Rolex catalog that people just don't part ways with when they get it. You know what the number 1 watch people sold was? The most overrated watch of all time that people only wanted because of the ridiculous premium? John Mayer Daytona. It's the ugliest Daytona ever created. How could you say that? Have you ever worn one? No, never even seen one. Exactly. You've never seen one. I've seen many. It's the worst shade of green to ever come out on a Rolex watch. That's why nobody gives a fuck about it.
Yeah. You like the Hulk because the Hulk in certain angles looks very dark. It can almost look black in many angles in different lighting. And you put it in the direct sunlight, then it looks green. It's kind of a different.
And it's also, when it was out, it was $8,500, right? It might have been $9,100 before they discontinued it. And it sat in the case for years. It was only when people really got into it and the economy had a natural growth, right? That's a different topic. We're not going to go there today, OC, but 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, fucking economy was on fire and people were buying watches. But we don't have to go there today. And it was only then that people said, oh, wow, this whole watch is green. That's kind of cool. And they sold them all. But if you look in the Rolex books, I think it's like 200,000 Hulks were produced. That's a lot.
Yep. Now, your dream watch at the moment would be a yellow gold Submariner Hulk. Like if they came out with a full yellow gold.
Submariner. It would be my dream Submariner. It wouldn't be my dream. My dream, the best watch that Rolex makes you own. It's the Platinum Ice Blue Day-Date. That's it. Money to the side, money no option, bomb to the chest, jumper cables to the balls, gun to the head, noose around the neck. What's the number one watch to buy and walk away? You don't need to ever buy another watch again. That's fucking absolutely gorgeous. Anytime you're in a group of people and you take it off and you put it on the table, every single person picks it up and looks at it. The Platinum Day-Date with the ice blue dial is unbeatable. Unfucking beatable. I would put it against any AP, any Patek. It's unbeatable.
Yeah. Good point. Hey, we got SE in Germany in the chat. We got Mathis. What's up? Got RS fan. Nearly 80 people watching. Guys, upvote the live stream. Let's get to 35 likes. Let's get to 35 likes. Breaking news out of Germany. The Carl F. Bucherer brand is no more. Rolex has pulled the plug. And we've got Fuck It Fridays with Buckley. I mean, going back to the GMT, I think the GMT it's a little diluted because they have so many models. I was going to pull up all the different variations in steel. You have the Bruce Wayne, you have the Sprite, you have the Batman and the Pepsi. Then two-tone, you have the Guinness with yellow gold, and you have the root beer in rose gold. And then in full gold, you have the full gold root beer and the full gold Guinness. So you have a lot of variations, which kind of waters it down. But I do still think that most people would consider the GMT Master 2 a more desirable watch, a harder to get watch than just a regular sub, or even a green sub.
Mean more desirable doesn't mean harder to get doesn't mean more desirable. Harder to get means we make way less than demand. But if you actually compare the amount of people that walk into Rolex around the world on a daily basis of all age groups, what do they request more, a black sub or a GMT? The black sub is destroying the GMT. It's probably 3 or 4 to 1 on requests. Right? Like people will say, well, the most desirable AP. Okay, they make 50 of them. They make 50 of the ceramic. How many people are qualified to get it? What's qualified to get it? $1 million spend at AP. 500 people on Earth. Okay. So 500 to 50. Yeah. 10 to 1. Right? 10 to 1 desirability. But what would happen if they made 500 of that watch? It would be dog shit. Right? People don't realize they're making 100,000 subs a year, and they're still over retail in a down market while increasing prices. That means the demand on the sub, even though it takes a month to get, 2 months to get now instead of 6 or a year, the demand is the highest on earth. It's just math. Hard to get doesn't mean there's high demand. That you can't. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I get the difference. Yeah. I think this comment's directed at you. From America 5726. The Pepsi on the Oyster bracelet is the greatest watch ever made.
He's never had one, so
and if he got it, he'd sell it.
He'd flip it.
Yeah,
He would flip it immediately.
He has a pretty bad track record. So yeah. Yeah, and the other thing that's happening behind the scenes that a lot of people maybe they know about, but there's a lot in the group chats about Ben Bridge Jewelers and a lot that's going on in the retail sector, like you said earlier, Buckley. Not only scandals with gray dealers, scandals with regular authorized dealers. Ben Bridge apparently has lost Rolex. So if Ben Bridge, if you go to the mall and right next to the Jamba Juice and the Champs, or the Foot Locker and the fucking hot dog on a stick, there's a Rolex. Chances are, it won't be there much longer. I mean, if there's a Benbridge Jewelers carrying Rolex, they won't be
If
carrying
they
Rolex
share a
anymore.
wall with Starbucks or a deli, they're probably going to be gone. If they share a parking lot with,
Yeah, why does Rolex want to display right next to hot dog on a stick and fucking and Jamba Juice? What's up,
yeah,
CQ?
I mean, hey CQ. Oh, well,
What's
this is
going
one
on,
of the-
gang? Happy Friday. That's
Happy Friday,
crazy. Benbridge lost Rolex. That's big.
That's
CQ.
what I've heard. I don't know if it's all locations, but we've heard that through the grapevine that Benbridge has lost Rolex.
CQ. If you knew the shit that I found out about certain ADs the last 3 weeks, your fucking jaw would be on the floor.
I'm interested. I'm interested
I
to know
can't
if
talk
my
about it
jaw would really be on the floor.
I truly
But I'm
can't talk
interested.
about it online. OC knows I can't talk about it online. It's so insane that it's actually.
I think this is going to be a crazy year. I think this is going to
Yeah.
be a very crazy year. And I think you're so right. The retail prices, you remember the guy who's like, the rent is too damn high. Retail prices are too damn high.
Yeah.
And it like, for certain brands, it makes sense. Certain brands, it doesn't make. Most brands, 95% of the brands, it doesn't it doesn't make sense the rate they've increased. Instead of like going and making like getting into the secondary market, they raised the retail on the primary market, and now it looks like the primary market is going to fold back into the secondary market for a lot of these brands. I'm sad about Carl F. Bucherer just because I love the brand and the North American president or rep Ron Stahl, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. We need more kind of brutal honesty in the watch space. There are several hundred Swiss
People
watch
won't do it,
brands.
OC. You know why?
No.
They're afraid of being blacklisted. That's why people don't speak up. That's why they're being honest. And they're afraid of being blacklisted because the only reason why they buy watches is because the watch brands are also handing them a check with the watch. So why would you fuck that up? If they hand me a Panda Daytona tomorrow, they hand me $30,000 on my 14. They double my money. Why would I fuck that up? When that goes away, people get honest real quick. I would love to see. I don't know if it's going to happen. I would love to see what happens if the Steel Royal Oak gets close to retail on the secondary.
I think it will.
Well, that's going to be a really fun time because you're going to see how full of shit everybody actually is.
I mean, it's just going back to what it was, right? Certain watches, when I started in the industry, only Patek could do. There's Patek who their retail prices didn't really make sense, but their prestige, the fact they've been around so long, the fact that their pieces achieve certain prices at auction, and like at that time, so I was in the Caribbean where everything is discounted. You don't discount Patek to the point where you could give somebody like a 0.5% discount and they would give you a hug. And I've seen it many times. And everything else was like 10 off, 15 off, 20 off, depending what it is. So now we're in a world where so many other brands are like full retail and they started secondary market doing so good. They've raised their price. But now it's like, the economy is a little mushy. There's a little uncertainty there. The flippers are gone. And who's left? The real collectors who remembers. The North remembers. And they're just waiting. They see this and they pop a bottle of champagne and they're just like, we're just waiting for the whole industry to fall back in on itself. And the brands can fix it, but I don't know if they will or if they I don't know. I don't know. Question mark.
Yeah, the only way you fix it is you shut down the world for 3 months and you pump another $5 trillion in.
No. You could easily fix this by lowering your retail prices.
They won't do that.
They've done it before. Some of them done it before. Patek have done it before, not too long ago. And to me, there's so much things going on in the world. They should use this as an excuse to lower your retail prices, roll it back a little bit, because some of it's just too much frothy, and discounting probably is already happening, and you're gonna start to see big discounts again, and then all of a sudden the real gray market is gonna appear again. This is, the gray market term has been labeled wrong. Gray market means closeout, meaning like I'm selling you a new watch, like it's a new, like new, but not from an authorized dealer, and I think that's gonna slowly creep right back up. Exactly. Joma Shop and so many others. And why does that happen? Because product can't be moved. But next year there's more product. It's like cars. Every year there's annual production. There has to be exports. Like the whole Swiss government like they love the exports of watches. They don't want to slow it down. So when the exports get to too much and the ADs can't sell and the discounts aren't working, then they just start doing closeouts. And then you see the real gray market. And it's like, it's so funny. You could really see it happening. And some brands are just like, no, we can exclusivity, limited edition. And it's like, okay. No, not at all.
I mean, we're at the point where Grand Seiko has a multi-floor corner suite on Madison Avenue.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I think from a brand that 5 years ago, the only attention they had was Christian, Theo, and Harris making artistic videos about them, and that one dude with the spiky hair who's like the CEO of North America. This was a brand that had a 3-foot-long glass case in Watches of Switzerland. And now they have a couple of $100,000 a month rent on Madison Avenue at their own boutique, which is empty 90% of the time. It's crazy.
I guess, but I'd say Grand Seiko is one of the brands that are doing it right, and they're actually, for what they produce and what they make, the retail prices aren't extremely bad. I think everybody could pull back, but I don't mind a brand like that investing in their retail space, investing in their experience, because the biggest issue they have is connecting with the collectors and the fact that Seiko is in their name. Their biggest enemy is their biggest success. You know what I mean? So it's for them in particular, I would give like a little grace, because like they're making so much money from Seiko anyways, and the Grand Seiko product, the creator product, is so good. It'd be beautiful to have a great experience in New York for them. But a lot of other brands, no.
Yeah, but my point here is, you've been to the Omega space on Fifth Avenue?
No, I don't believe I haven't.
Okay.
So, but I'm sure it's huge.
That's what I'm saying. This Grand Seiko spot is 3 to 4 times larger, maybe bigger than that, than the average, established watch brand boutique. I think it's going to close very shortly. I know OC kind of shares the same opinion.
It's possible. It's possible. I don't have any info on that. I just say for that brand in particular, I could see where, their whole corporation probably is very profitable. And to grow that brand, you're gonna have to invest heavily. But I agree with you. A lot of these brands who invested in a lot of these huge spaces and a lot of the celebrity marketing forgot about the collector, and they stopped investing in community. Now you see a lot of them are trying, but it's going to take a lot of work to get back where you want to be, for sure. I agree with you there.
I think between the both of you kind of nailed it. Like, without lowering prices, there's room for some of these brands who've done a good job with a combination of exclusivity, family, community, and a club vibe. Like, hey, you're part of an exclusive group of like-minded people, and that applies to brands like Grand Seiko and FP Journe. Omega. Like, Omega collectors are very, very nutty about the brand, and then less so about some other brands like maybe Breitling or Cartier or Hublot or Tag Heuer or IWC. I mean, I think there's a chance for those
But Tag Heuer
brands
stays
create.
in their lane. See?
They do what?
They stay in their lane.
They stay in their lane, right? It's with
I
Tag
mean,
Heuer. It's
they're
less
mostly at
about.
Macy's, right? They're mostly alongside Longines and department stores.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean
and
that
Bulova.
wasn't their lane. They had their lane was a bit more a few notches under Omega used to be their lane.
Yeah, but you're talking about
You know,
what, 3 decades ago?
no, like I'm not that old. How old am I? Like 1 decade ago. You know, Jesus, I'm 3 decades. No, 10 years ago, I would consider them 20% under Omega. And if you bought a $4,000 to $5,000 Tag Heuer, you were getting a Monaco, or you're getting a 1887, which was their version of it was like a decent watch. You get a quality piece, for $4,000. And even at $800 or $1,000, you got a nice Formula One that you could wear, or your kid could wear and enjoy. That was a quality watch. Today, you look at it, it's not the same. Just the identity, the vibe. I'm just not sure. It's I don't know. John Claude Bucherer took it on this very experimental path, and when he left, I don't think they knew what to like. We got a Mario Kart 1, and it's like I don't know what to think.
That guy is an entirely different conversation for another day, because there's a lot of shit around that guy.
What do you? The JCB, right?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, but Carlo Bucherer, there's no sense of community there. There's no sense of incredible, like a family, like you're part of an exclusive club. There's nothing really that great there. So,
sorry, there are a lot of great things that it did do, but it wasn't communicated, and it's far too late for it to come back, and it should have been just a very boutique operation, because the movements they did are very, very quality. The peripheral rotors and stuff like that are super quality. But you're right. If I showed somebody Carlo Bucherer, they'd think it's a watch that I made, like some brand that I'm pushing. So you're correct.
Mm-hmm.
You think they're going to keep the name Bucherer on all the boutiques?
They should.
Well, the thing is, like, to change it to something else, like, what would they have to come up with completely new branding, and that's a risky thing. Like, as much as I love the people at 1916 Company, that's a disastrous name. It's a terrible name. They took Watchbox and Govberg and those other guys, Radcliffe and Hyde Park or whatever. They combined it all under a name that doesn't really communicate luxury jewelry or luxury watches. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's hard to pronounce. It's hard to spell. Hard to find the website.
Yeah.
So there's a risk when you rebrand that you actually create a lot of confusion and you lose a lot of familiarity. Tourneau, when they were bought by Bucherer took a very slow. Even to this day, I think it's co-branded. Like, you walk by a Bucherer and they have Tourneau in different places just to remind people that they used to be Tourneau. But to pick a different name now, I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to find the name that does it unless they just said, "Oh, I don't know. I have no idea." I'd have to think about it.
That's why there's nothing for me. Based on what I've heard and I've seen, there's nothing off the table for them, because 2 years ago, people would have said they're never gonna own their own boutique, and they're never gonna get involved in the gray market, and they did both those things.
Well, how? They're not involved in the gray market.
CPO.
That's not their involvement in the gray market. That from the Rolex standpoint, that's them expanding their repair business more than anything else. But they're not. They have no real involvement in the market. If Rolex was my business, I would look at CPO as a opportunity to force my ADs to give you more revenue through repairs. But I don't see it as them being in the secondary market at all.
I think it's a control over supply. I think it's a way for them to control and watch supply.
I disagree.
I know it's a conspiracy, but
how would they control the supply?
because they know exactly how much they've made. Right, the only people in the room that know how much Rolex of each model was made is Rolex. Right, so they saw the gray market profiting an insane amount on their shit, and all these other brands like Karl F. Bucherer and Breitling profiting off of the chase for their brand. And I think it pissed them off, and I think that the CPO is them getting involved, kind of like the Boston Collector always uses the OPEC example, where they can force authorized dealers to take in a certain amount of each model, and they can do a lot of crazy shit with it.
But
the bottom line, they can do a lot of crazy shit with it. I don't know if they.
But so if I'm an AD, sorry to interrupt you, but if I'm an AD, how much do you think Rolex could tell me to buy CPO?
Well, so here's where the argument breaks down: is where they started CPO was Bucherer, and now Rolex is Bucherer. So that it's technically not a middleman AD anymore. So
in the Bucherer situation, you're right. In the Bucherer situation, which also you got to admit is a rare situation where the head of the family didn't have kids and like had the most Rolex ADs out there. So like if you're Rolex, you also make that decision.
Wouldn't you think with all the things that they're doing that in 20 years from now, there will be no family? It'll be Rolex. That's the direction they're headed in. I mean, Watches of Switzerland is probably next.
I think many people underestimate how nice it must be to just be the farmer, be the farmer and sell to select restaurants and select retailers because they make so much money. They own the metal, you know what I mean? They own the dirt. So they own the metal. They're producing everything from scratch. It's all robots. You know what I'm saying? And they own us on the repair because you have to go through them for repair. You don't have to, but like you want to, and with CPO, so there's so much repair that like why would you want the headache of dealing with people?
I don't know, but they seem to want they never. It's never enough for them, right?
I agree. There's never enough, but I just don't think there'll be a world where they cut out the ADs. It's the best system ever. They take away all headaches.
They are. That's the problem is they've already started doing it. Right? I mean, I know what you're saying. This is why I'm saying 2-3 years ago we would have said never, but the nevers that people said are now it's happening. So I get what you're saying. Like, why would you want to take on that? You're already making if you sell a sub to an AD, I think they make 37%. Right, so what is it? It's like 10 grand. Call it 6,300. They buy it for, and it costs Rolex what? $500 to make a sub.
Exactly. So
they're making huge.
What more do you want?
I know, but they always want more. That's the problem. I think CQ. I think that's why people are so angry with Rolex. Is it's just never enough.
They sell dreams.
It's never enough. I mean, they're building a fucking skyscraper in Manhattan as we speak.
I mean, as they should. They got all the money in the world. But I just don't think. I think they make it a oligarchy situation where there's just like key big guys who Rolex ADs, which a lot of other brands did, right? AP did it, and so many other brands did it. But to be direct to consumer, it's so hard. I will say by them doing Bucherer, I have heard that they are getting a lot of action in the CRM, and they're getting really good at that, and I could see them definitely getting the pulse of the market. But to be 100%, you only go to them to get it. Anything's possible, but I think it'll be a few big dogs out there, big groups who have Rolex, and it's just tight. There won't be any like little mom and pop who can like sell to some flipper or whatever. It'll just be like ironclad.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can go either way on it. My own perspective with Rolex is just they always, if they play to win at any means. And if they're playing CPO, I would have to think that the ultimate goal is there's no Roman sharks in this world that are touching our watches.
There's too much watches. There's too much watches. There's as an AD, you can't force it. You can only make me buy a certain amount, you know, especially of like a product that won't sell. You can't force me to like unload a bunch of CPO product that I have to price out of the market. We could only play that game for so long. And there's just so much Rolex watches in the world that are being produced every year that there's never a world where there's no Roman Sharf, no David, no
right now.
1960, somebody.
Right now.
Somebody like
But if Bucherer is buying most of the CPO, which I think they are because they have the most doors, and CPO started with them. I mean, we have it on good authority from someone who's high up at Bucherer that they started buying massive inventory in China, and about 12% they were taking and just throwing in the garbage because of fake parts, or that it was, the case was destroyed.
Oh, imagine.
12%, that's all. I mean, who knows? That's what I'm saying. They can buy all of their watches back and they can destroy half of them and still eat everybody else for lunch. That's how big they are, right? So who's to say they're not doing that? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. I could be wrong.
I mean, it'd be. I hope they do that, because like so many brands would benefit off of that strategy of just cleaning up their secondary market. But there's still so much Rolex, and the more that they did that, it would just make certain premier secondary dealers just rise to the top with them as well. The whole market would be an interesting place. I think it's an interesting theory. It's definitely possible. I don't know. To me, it's such a big lift for like, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze, but who am I,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they would be so motivated. Like, I don't know what Philippe Dufour, right? Was Jean-Philippe Dufour, right? That's the CEO.
Yep. Jean.
I don't know what he stands to gain from being this aggressive, but all I'm saying is they do not take their foot off the pedal ever. I mean, in the last month, we've heard about them pulling out all over the place. We've heard about them firing entire sales floors of people and bringing in people from Switzerland to retrain.
Well, because they're bad essays, man. The essays out there are like, it's rough. It's really like, it ain't what it used to be, just because good salespeople went into so many different industries, whether it be real estate or whatever, art, and things like that. But I could imagine Switzerland opening the books, seeing how people were running it. And, when I went to open Dubai for Watchbox, we worked with the Siddiqui family there, and we did like a training for how they do luxury and luxury service, and down to the juice and down to the tea, and they wanted you to taste the tea so you could be like a tea sommelier. So when you offer tea to the clients, and so when you go to places like Switzerland, they know that. So when they go to these places and they do the secret shopping and stuff, I can imagine them being like, oh, let's just get rid of all of this. Let's just start from scratch and remake it how service should be, because that has left the industry. And that's why everybody's like against them, because the service, you're not giving me a watch and you're giving me horrible service. What do I get out of this? Just give you money and get beat up, and like very BDSM,
Yeah, it's really interesting how things are changing, but they change based on like a lot of the recent events are based on people change. Like this whole thing with Jorg Bucherer leaving or dying, and then opportunistically Rolex saying, listen, we can't let this piece of distribution fall into enemy territory. We have to own it.
You have to.
We just have to own it. And then when Bucherer bought Tourneau, there was a guy that was there. I'm not going to say the CEO's name, but they basically, after a while, like after a couple of years, like, listen, okay, thank you very much, but we're pushing you out. We're putting Bucherer people in from Germany to run Tourneau. And after they did that, then they started making a lot of changes.
Makes sense.
One of the changes, ironically, is like, hey, we own this Karloff Bucherer brand, so you're going to sell it. And they tried it, and it was as successful as it could get, but it wasn't successful enough. Like I read in the article here, in a lot of the Bucherer retailers, Karloff Bucherer was the number 2 brand behind Rolex because they were very successful at pushing that as, hey, we don't have any Rolex right now, but if you want to be in our good graces, this is the brand you should buy. But now they don't have to deal with that. It's a fucking distraction, is what it is. It's a rounding error. It's a drop in the ocean. It's just to waste space on like this kind of display in a Bucherer store makes no sense.
Because they're usually on the main floor, or and they're kind of like Karloff Bucherer. A lot of time is the centerpiece in a lot of these Bucherer stores. Yeah. So you want to get them the hell out of the way. I mean, Rolex, if they could, they want the whole floor.
I mean, this
I know
looks very similar.
LEDs that they're going for the whole floor. Like they've re-signed and said, we're only staying if you make us this entire floor.
Yeah, this is a distraction. This looks very much like Time Machine, by the way, where there's a Karloff Bucherer on the main floor, which is the street level floor, with Rolex, Patek.
Maybe that is.
Why should they be there? Yeah, this looks like Time Machine, right? But
especially if you need a spot for your CPO,
which is down in the basement right now. I mean, why not have a few key models up here?
Yeah, I don't think they should be separated. I think it should be in the same area, just sectioned off. By the way, OC,
yep.
I'm hopping off in a minute here, but I think
me too. I actually this is a good live stream. I know there are a lot of people watching, but I just want to jump on to do, and CQ I see just jumped off. I was probably by he had a phone call or something. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Yeah, it's big breaking news. Thanks for jumping on the panel. Upvote the live stream on the way out, guys. Breaking news: Rolex pulled the plug on Karloff Bucherer. They were told that this morning they're done, and that's it. Yeah. That's it. Upvote the live stream. Peace out. Have a great start to your weekend, everybody. Take care.
Take care.
All right.